Hey, you want to hear a story? This is The Starchivist, a short story that was written, illustrated, and narrated by yours truly, MxRheyRhey. The Starchivist is a science fiction short story. I believe it has no trigger warnings to speak of, and it is rated for everybody because there is no strong language in this whatsoever. So, without further ado, let's get started. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. This was the worst day ever. Chris couldn't believe what was in front of their eyes. They couldn't even fathom how this even happened. Why now? Just when everything in their life was looking up. Mostly. They went through almost a decade of college to work as an archivist. They were salutatorian. They got a job in Italy to work in Umbria's art museum. They got on a plane and everything. They said they'd let their friends and family know when they were safe. Why were they in space? That was Earth. It must be, right? That big blue planet through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows of what must be some kind of docking bay? There were every kind of species Chris could and couldn't imagine, just moving past each other, not paying them any mind to what it looked like they had someplace else to be. Chris turned and looked for anywhere that looked like a desk, a sign, a map they could read, anything that looked like they could get help. Eventually, a sign they were staring at translated to what looked like information, and they made their way towards it. As they passed under an arch with a warm yellow light, they were stopped by a sudden floating sphere. A small circular light pulsed white until it stayed a solid yellow and started to speak. "Greetings, human. Please state your name and how I may help you." Chris took a second to process what just happened and let out a breath they didn't know they were holding. "Hello, my name is Chris. I think there's something wrong. I have no idea where I am, and if I were crazy, I think I was in space. But that's crazy. I was on a plane to Italy. Planes don't go to space. I have a job waiting for me at the Umbria Gallery Museum. They said they desperately needed someone for the archiving department. So you see, I need to be in Italy on Earth so I can call my family and tell them that I'm safe and tell them about the crazy dream I had about space on the plane ride there. Please tell me I'm on Earth and Italy just has a funny sense of humor." The sphere glowed a white and blue pulsing light once Chris finally took a breath. After a few seconds, the sphere spoke again. "All terrestrial travels are in the command of the designated Terra. All flights to Umbra, Constellation, Sector 3 for the Gallery District Museum is boarding. Teleportation into shuttle will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2. And before Chris could even object, they saw a soft static and found themselves sitting in a gray, gelled soft seat and surrounded by other aliens sitting in various size seating. Another light above their seat blinked a white and blue, but this time a small hum could be heard.
"Passenger, Chris Alvarez, reported on board. Take off imminent."
And there they went, continuing further away from Earth than they had ever fathomed. Again. By the time the ship docked to their final destination, Chris's panic had blown so much they couldn't experience anything but a state of calmness as they waited for the third shoe, out of who knew how many, to drop. When they finally found what looked like a baggage claim area, they were surprised to see their luggage, along with someone next to it with their name on a sign that they could perfectly read. That particular someone looked kind of like an axolotl if they were transparent and humanoid. After an awkward exchange, Chris found out that the axolotl's name was Trek. He said that the museum would be waiting for them when they got there. As they did, Chris found what could only be a dragon standing in front of a very large door. The large dragon also came barreling down the steps as they saw Chris get out of their first ever space taxi and began to speak.
Hello. Hello. I hope I'm saying that right. You're the first human to even visit the museum, so my Earthish is still new. Chris, yes? We talked through email. I'm Giuseppe, the curator of the museum.
Chris was filled with so much emotion they didn't know how to respond. Before they could speak, however, Giuseppe continued.
Please come in. We have everything ready for you to get started, but we wanted to set you up with a space during your off hours first. We have a very good habitator program. I'm sure we'll find something that will work for your needed conditions.
When Chris sat down in Giuseppe's office, they finally started to feel like they were calming down. For real, not just a facade. There was a surprising familiarity to the office, like a dean's office. As Giuseppe was about to get things in order, Chris finally spoke up. "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but I think I made some sort of mistake. When we were talking, I was under the impression I would still be on Earth. I didn't even know there was anything out in space." Giuseppe let out a laugh.
Well, of course there's things in space. It's pretty big. But I wouldn't be surprised. You humans haven't been out of exile for very long. It makes sense that you'd want to keep the familiar.
Chris had to pause for a split second. Exile? We were in exile? The dragon boss looked a little confused at the question.
Oh, right, you were young. You were born after your first flight off of Earth, so it mustn't have felt real to you. Yes, you humans have been rather isolated for a very long time. Before that, you had a long history amongst this whole galaxy cluster. That's why we wanted to hire you so much,
He said with a smile.
Our museum has just gotten a very big shipment of ancient human history pieces, and your transcripts say that you specialize in world's history, so we thought, who better to help us accurately archive all of these pieces than a fellow human?
Oh, things were starting to make a little more sense now to Chris. This must have been the biggest game of telephone to ever go wrong. They didn't even know where to begin. On the one hand, they were really excited to have and start a new job right away, and the fact that they were so accommodating makes a lot more sense now. On the other hand, they had no idea how they would even keep their job if they didn't even know about any history pre-Earth. After what Chris hoped wasn't a very long pause, they finally felt like they needed to tell Giuseppe the truth. "Mr. Giuseppe, I have to be honest. I wasn't expecting the museum to be so big. I can't wait to get started. I am just a little anxious though, because, since I've never been off-world before, I don't really know the ins and outs of how to conduct myself." Giuseppe looked down and smiled.
Of course, I, along with everyone here, would be happy to help answer any questions you have, and we can add any tablet you need or want to your habitator for any information you're seeking. Speaking of, let's get that squared away so you can rest from your long trip.
He pulled up a square glass tablet and a small hologram appeared over his desk.
Now, it's been so long since the human feature was updated. Please, do your species still prefer to live in trees?
And a model of what looked to be an open campsite with rails and ladders that encompassed a large tree appeared. Chris chuckled and shook their head. As they talked and finished up their meeting, Chris finally had to admit to themselves that they were there. They were in space for the long haul, it seemed. A pit started to grow in their stomach when they remembered that they'd still have to call their parents and let them know what was going on, if they even could. How was cell reception up in space? But that could wait for tomorrow and after a nap. For now, they had a bigger priority of learning on the job. All right, everybody, that was the Starchivist. I really hope you liked it. I have other stories in the works of all different genres, of different characters, of different worlds. So if you liked it, please subscribe for more. If you like what I'm doing, I also have a coffee page I think you should really check out. Help me earn a living. There is a lot I need to learn. This was my first story, so I got a lot of practicing I gotta do. I got a lot of writing I really want to check out, but please, I hope you stay for the rest of it, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful life.